Call them. Whatever you do, make sure you call them. Ladies and gentlemen, on December 15th, 1959, Zabel Nazarian, a.k.a. Elizabeth Nazarian Sahelnik, a.k.a. my mom, was born. It was her birthday yesterday. Sagittarius. What a wonderful birth sign. I'm an Aries. So you could tell me and my mom fought when I was growing up, for sure. We still do today. And she has shared a birthday with Fats Waller, with Glenn Miller, the GOAT, Walt Disney, a highly controversial figure, but no one is as impactful in my life on that list like my mom has been. And yesterday, I had the supreme privilege to call my mom and wish her a happy birthday. I got to FaceTime her even. Let's face it, we all hate technology, but it's pretty amazing. I couldn't FaceTime my mom 10, 15 years ago. I did yesterday. I got to see her in her blue pantsuit and make fun of her for looking like Hillary Clinton. I said, "Mom, you look like you just lost an election, but you look beautiful." And it made me think about this, and I go, I think the important thing is to just make sure you call them while they're still here, whoever it is. Because I'll tell you what, 2 years ago, that almost wasn't possible. 2 years ago, my mom was very, very sick. My mom was in the hospital for over a month. And she was fighting cancer. And I'm not going to tell her whole story, but I'll tell a part of it that I know she's okay with. You know, and she had a surgery that went very badly. And no one was expecting the way for it to turn out that it did. And she was in the hospital. And not only that, she was on a ventilator for over 10 days, which anyone who works in a hospital or has a family member who's been through that, you know how bad that is. And when you're on a ventilator, you can't speak. Can't even speak. And I had never been in a situation where I couldn't pick up a phone and call my parent. So that hit me right away, folks. And I was talking to my dad, who's a urologist, and I could tell how dumbfounded he was too, or how surprised he was. And he said, "Listen, your mom can't talk, but you can talk to her. And I'll put the phone up next to her, and you can speak to her." And I said, "Hi, Mom. I love you." And I didn't hear her voice. I heard a machine beeping. And I never forgot that moment. That's always stuck with me, is that I'm speaking to my mom, and I know she can hear me. I know that's why her heart rate is raising, but she can't say anything back. And in that moment, I looked up to the sky. I looked up to the great creator, whatever, you know, whether you're religious or you have spirituality. And I think you can have spirituality without being religious, aka you have to follow any theology or any rules. But I said, we got to figure this out, and we gotta find a way to make this better. And I don't know. I was making some backdoor deals, you know. And I got to the hospital a couple of days later. I couldn't be there right away, but I got there a couple of days later, and watched her navigate that whole process over the month. And it was so interesting to see like the little things we take for granted, because she couldn't even go outside. And then I see her get out of the ICU, get off the ventilator. That was such a big deal. And then go to one of the other floors for rehab basically. And then I remember the first day we went outside and we had like lunch in the courtyard, and it was like you could feel the sun on your skin, and it was like that made her so happy. And I was like, wow, this is what life is about. That really changed my life. And it made me go, there's so many little things I don't appreciate every day that I really need to start remembering. Oh, you can't take any of this for granted. And my mom's made a full recovery. She's kicking ass and taking names. And I'm one of them, unfortunately. She gives me more shit now than ever, but I love it. And I'm so grateful that I guess I learned that lesson. First of all, I'm grateful my mom is here, but I'm grateful I learned the lesson to not take anyone in your life for granted. And that if you have the ability, you should call them, no matter what. No matter what's going on, call them. No matter the issues there, you can always solve it. Say you're fighting with a brother or a sibling or whatever, call them, figure it out. You can figure it out. We've all been through it. We've lived with them. We can fix it. We can fix it. You know, your crush, call your crush. Call your crush and say, hey, I like you. You don't need to play the games. I promise you, do not listen to your friends. Do not listen to your friends. Just call your crush and say, hey, I like you. Yeah, Steven, but that's too direct. No, it's not. Because they'll go, hey, I like you too. Or they'll say, wow, did you see the weather we're having? It's frightful. The weather outside is frightful. They'll start singing and they'll change the subject. And you'll go, oh, okay. Hey, you don't love me like I love you. Do you know that song? And at least you'll know. Or call your friends. Call your friends and tell them that you appreciate them. As corny as that sounds. Because again, you really don't know. You really don't know how long you have with the people that are in your life. So you got to make sure to take those moments. And for me, I'm so happy I got to call my mom yesterday and say, hey, Mom, happy birthday. So if I can say anything today, it's make sure you call them.